This presentation will explain why you need what you call a lead generating website rather than a designed website, because there's a big difference. And it will teach you some other things about what to look for in a good website that will get you leads. Because so many people that I talk to, they've had websites for years. I do a ranking, rank tracking as to where they're ranking for keywords. Most of them are on page 2, 3, and 4 of Google. And there's a saying in the industry: the best place to hide dead bodies on page 2 of Google, because nobody goes there. Unfortunately, most people's websites are on page 2 of Google and are not producing anything for them. So what I want to do is address those problems and show you what the difference is and what you should be looking for. So 20, 30 minutes, just find out a bit about us and our price range and show how we work differently to other design companies. One of the big things I would say for you to understand Google is there's a guy called Matt Cutts who's a Google engineer, and this is really getting it from the horse's mouth. He will this particular video that is actually now delisted teaches you about what to look for. But if you put Matt Cutts in and how search works, you'll still find copies of it on the internet. There is a link there as well. And it teaches you the fundamentals of Google, and those fundamentals will never ever change because it's the structure and the frameworks that Google work within. And once you understand them, it is straight. Yeah, you start to understand and interpret things. One of the things I also find with businesses, they don't understand what the lifetime value of a customer is. They think, oh yeah, this customer comes in and spends $200-$400 with us, and that's it. They don't think that, hang on a second, this customer could, but our average customer comes back 5 or 6 times. So if you multiply the 500 times the 5 or 6 times, then you also multiply that each customer on average will introduce 1 or 2 other customers to you, or even um, you know uh, 5 customers to you. You'll have different rates at which your customers introduce. So of course, let's say they introduce you to 2 more customers, and they also spend 500 on average times 3 or 4 or 5. Now you're starting to get a higher, what I call lifetime value. Here's some figures. Aluminium joining companies. A customer is worth 22,800. That's not the profit from the customer. That's the sort of turnover one customer can produce over a 10-year period or a 15-year period. Commercial cleaners, 11,000. Tree services, 5,000. So what that says is that, let's say you had to spend, and this might shock a lot of people, $300 to get a customer. You might think, well, that's a lot of money. Well, if you're a tiler and you spent $300 to get a customer, over the lifetime with you, they're going to spend 5,000. And if you're not prepared to spend 300 to get 5,000, then you're not a business person. The return on investment from that is phenomenal. So these are some figures you need to learn, and there is an easy formula to do that. It's a plumber here. So the average sale is about 1,000, 5 times in a lifetime, plus they introduce 43% more customers, like they talk to other people, word of mouth, and they of course become customers and spend an average of $1,000. So one client is worth 8,000 to a plumber. Now, obviously, there's different types of plumbers. This is the average over 19, and I've got figures for more than that as well to give you an idea. This is averages, and averages usually are not too far off. Next thing is that 93% of normal websites are designed by graphic designers. They work on the basis of build it and they will come. It looks like a website. There are 250,000 websites launched every day. 80% of those websites are about the company and 20% about the customer. That is completely the wrong way round. People go to Google to find information that they're seeking, not about the company and how big and how long they've been in business and what they're the recommended supplier of. No, they have questions. So there are different ways. There's a film called Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. And a lot of people think that is true. Build it and they will come is a good way to um, branding and keep branding and building and just hope they will come, because they won't. In this day and age, people go, there's a phrase called Google it, and it means get your question answered. And if your website doesn't answer their question, they're gone. The other thing that's really big out there, and this is building and building and building, is now 70% of all views are done on mobile phones, and I would say a good 80% of websites do not load fast onto a mobile phone, um, and it's not a good experience. And people's attention span is 7 seconds. So think about this: 70% of visitors get turned away from websites because they're slow at loading. And I've had a few business owners say to me, "Oh no, it loads really fast." And I go, "Yes, it loads fast on your phone because you've looked at it a few times. So it's already in the memory of your phone. What you've got to remember is someone who's never looked at your website before, it's got to load into their phone for the first time. And if it takes more than 7 seconds, you have lost them. So you're losing 70% of your visitors before you've even started. And the next thing is they don't make it user friendly, not using best ways to use buttons and just make it easy for people to find things. So that's another way people lose a lot of business. If you optimize it for mobile, Google will reward you. Um, just Google it. People want answers to the questions. If you don't answer them, your competitors will. You need, people need to gather information to make a decision. They skim and scan and skim a website for information. If they don't find that information, they're gone. They are there to Google and get their questions answered. It's kind of like a luggage conveyor belt at an airport. If you have 4 bags that you went on the flight with, you will wait alongside that luggage um, collection belt until you get all 4 bags. Some people will only have 2 bags and they'll have waited and they've got the 2 bags and gone. If you think of that as the questions people come to a website with, some come with 2 bags, some come with 2 questions, and some people come with 4 questions. Now, imagine the scene: you're waiting for your 4 bags, you've got 3 of them, and the thing's going round and round and round. We've been there, or you're, where's my bag? So then what you do, you go, I wonder if it's on one of the other conveyors. They've put it on the wrong conveyor. So you'll go to other conveyors to find your bags. This is exactly what happens on the internet. If they cannot find the answers to their questions on your website, they will go to other other websites to answer those questions. So let's say your website answers 2, and they go to another website and that answers another one, and then they Google it again and they get their other question answered on a third competitor's website. Guess what? They're now in buy mode. They can move on with their purchase. So they will put an inquiry in on that website, not your website. But if you can work smart, and this is what we do, we research all the frequently asked questions about a product or service, and we put 10 on each page of your website, they get their questions answered, and so they move on with their buying journey, and they're more likely to put an inquiry in. And that's why they're Googling. Google it, find out the answer. So we work on the 90% about information design and 10% about graphic design. It still needs to look good, but it needs to answer their questions. 80% about the customer and 20% about the company, answering their questions so they can move forward in their buying journey. The other thing that this is another thing that can stop people moving on in their journey is that you're talking to them in a foreign language. That can be that you're using company jargon and industry jargon, but it also can mean that you're not communicating in the way that they like to be communicated by. Now, we all know some people who like to make phone calls and they prefer to make a phone call and talk to somebody, and other people who like to text people, and other people who like to just listen to audios, and some people like to read, and some people want infographics, and some people want to get other people's opinion. So all of those are relevant and need to be on a website, because the longer you keep people on a website, the more that they're in, the more information that they're consuming from you. You're building trust with them, and they're more likely to deal with you. Plus, Google notices people are on your website for longer than your competitors, so they will move you up the rankings, because Google is about a good experience, taking people to a search that answers their questions however they want them answered, by video, by podcast, by infograph, by memes, by photos, by blog posts, by webinars, by you see what I mean? Videos, not just text and pictures. So we beware of sort of designers that ask you to do all the copywriting. You don't understand how to write for your customers. You have, unfortunately, over the time that you've been in the business, you talk a different language to a customer. You have to answer in the prospect's language, not in company jargon, industry jargon, because a confused mind says no. It should be focused and we have a discovery process which learns about your business. Even if you're a plumber or an electrician, there are so many different types of plumbers, electricians, roofers. They have different things that they focus on, and we need to learn what those are from your company and put that on the internet for you, so you attract the customers you're looking for, not general customers. So one of the big things that 90% of websites don't have proper indexing. What do I mean by indexing? Well, remember the 3x5 cards. If you're over 35, you probably remember these. They have the old card indexes. People used to put business cards in an alphabetical way. Obviously, filing cabinets all used to be indexed that way. All Google is an index, a digital index of the internet. So these tabs up here are actual tabs in an alphabetical form, and they need to have a description of what this page is about. I'll show you some examples. So this particular one is for a plumbing company. On the left side, we see the plumbing company is called A1 Plumbing, and it's got A1 Plumbing on every page here. This is what this is if you put the word site in, and you take the www dot off, and you take the slash at the end off, and you just have the pure website address, so site colon and then the website address, this will show you the index for, or the sitemap for, this particular website. So it'll show you like the chapters of the book and the names of the chapters. And the names of the chapters should be the keywords people are searching for to find you. Unfortunately, most websites are like this, where they've just got the name and the name of the page, the name and the name of the page. You get what I mean? If you look on this side, you've got Tasman Plumbers Wellington, Master Plumbers, and then a suburb, Emergency Plumbers Wellington, Plumbing and Heating Wellington, Residential Plumbers Wellington, Plumbing Installations Wellington. So there's a combination of words that these pages have been indexed for. So they're more. This is where your keywords need to be, and that's called indexing your website. 90% are WordPress websites, as you can see. This one is, and they just default to page name and company name. And that one's got plumbing in it, but if that was ABC Contractors, when someone's searching it, this doesn't mean anything to Google. It doesn't really tell them what that page is about. The next side is, let's get this reduced down, is doing your keyword research, finding the right bait. And And that, if you find the right keywords, it means more traffic, more customers, and more money for you. But sometimes you could get what we call certain keywords that are really not the right keywords to rank for. Like plumbers Christchurch doesn't really tell us why they're typing in plumbers Christchurch, and there's 1,300 searches there, but and it could be quite hard to get on there. But actually, plumber CHCH only has 170 churches and will probably be very easy to get on. And there's actually got an increase year on year of searches using CHCH. But actually, that word is not really a good word to rank for. It's too general. But emergency plumbers Christchurch is. Emergency plumbers Christchurch is an intent keyword. They need an emergency plumber. Um, and there's one there, cheap plumbers Christchurch. Now you might not want to come up for cheap, but it shows the intent of the searcher. They want a cheap plumber. Yeah. So that's another thing that we need to look at, is what the keywords, what the intent of the keywords are that we put on your website. There's a red ocean and a blue ocean out there. Most people are competing in the red ocean, and if you're wise, you will fish in the blue ocean. Bigger fish, more bigger fish to catch, less competition, um, and once you've caught your customer, you can get repeat customers. So people are fishing in the wrong places. What do I mean by that? Well, most people are fishing for the 3%, the checkout shoppers. We divide shoppers into three categories. We're using the old term shoppers because people are still shopping. They're just shopping on the internet. And that's window shoppers, in-store shoppers, and checkout. Everybody seems to be after the 3%. At any one time, there is only 3% of the market ready to buy. But there's a lot of people doing their research in the 37% here and the window shoppers. If you can concentrate on the window shoppers and the in-store shoppers, you can convert your own 3%. So these people are in store asking questions. They're on the internet looking for answers to questions. We talked about that on the carousel. They are trying to find out about things and educate themselves on products and services. And if you do that education and you build that trust up, they will order from you, not your competitors. Window shoppers can be moved up to in-store shoppers using the website in the right way by informing people. So the in-store shopper is the blue ocean shopper. You're answering the 37% of questions using easy to understand language, no jargon, no industrial speak. Building trust and creating your exclusive pipeline of 3% customers who will not go anywhere else but you, unless you haven't got stock. So most people are fishing with wrong hook bait, but they've caught on that hook bait before because they've gone after those customers before and they're paying top dollar to get those customers. But actually, if you've done the research, we've done this by putting the hook baits out, finding out which are the best hook baits, and then of course using those hook baits to catch our customers. Knowing what are the right things to do, doing the right research will get you catching more fish. So by using the right bait, suddenly you draw the fish to you because you're using the things that they're looking for. And that's what search engine optimization is about. And optimizing your website, particularly for keywords that people, high intent keywords and in-store shopper keywords, will get you more business and attract more business, more people to your online website, and that obviously catches you more fish. One of the other things that we use on the websites nowadays is some sort of video. We have a video system that we use, which allows people to dial their own story via a video. Now, This might seem nothing special, but I can tell you it is. This can't be done on YouTube yet, but it can be done on a website where we can put buttons on a video so they can choose the information they want you to talk about. And we can take them down a video funnel. So it's like a 24-hour salesperson. So you come up to that salesperson, you say, I'm looking for this. Can you take me to that section? And they take them to the section. Imagine walking into Bunnings and wandering around looking for something. That's a normal website experience. But with this, it's a person that's 24 hours, doesn't have lunch breaks, will answer your questions. So you walk into the front of Bunnings and you ask, I need a specialist on barbecues. They give you that person, they take you to the barbecues, and they walk you through the process. And you can ask and answer questions on the barbecues or on lawnmowers or whatever their speciality is. This is what this video does. They can choose their story and get the questions answered. So this is very powerful. It's like a funnel. It starts off with wide and it works them right the way through the sales journey. So it can move a window shopper through to a checkout shopper in one hit in some cases, but it can also move them to an in-store shopper or an in-store shopper to a checkout shopper. So that's and it's a easier for people to watch things and learn, and that's what people go to video and YouTube for. So if it's on your website, keeps them on your website longer. So they pick their journey, as you can see there. We can dial the journey in for them and get the questions answered that they're looking for. The web pages are important. Google read them and understand them. Our websites are all about the company, industrial jargon. Pictures are not keyworded. Google cannot see pictures. You have to name the pictures. They don't have frequently asked questions, and they have no call to actions. Their their telephone numbers don't click to call. It's just a terrible experience, and that's why they're on page 2, 3, and 4 of Google. Properly optimize what they call on-page search engine optimization is putting all the keywords, putting all the phrases, putting the videos, putting the frequently asked questions on there, helping the customer, 80% about the customer, what they want to know, using easy to understand language that a 10-year-old could understand, using keyworded pictures so Google understand what the pictures are about, having good frequently asked questions and have call to actions on every section of your page. That's what the difference is and what gets the conversions. The other thing that is underutilized, people sort of start off with a bit of intent of, oh, we're going to do a blog, but they have no idea what a blog is for. They just think it's a thing to do. But actually, if a blog is used correctly, it can funnel people into your net. Imagine going white bait fishing and seeing somebody have set up a white bait net system like that. If you're the other side of the net, you are not going to catch anything because the whole river has been cut off. In fact, there are rules to stop this happening. On the internet, there's no rules to say that you can't put blog posts out 50 or 60, one a week for 2 years. You've got 100 blogs about different searches, different things people are looking for, funneling them into the main website. So it's funneling consistent traffic into your website. Very, very good way of getting high intent people. The other thing that makes a difference in ranking is people pointing to you. There are directories on the internet. There are obviously blogs and forums on the internet. There are social signals. There are high ranking websites. These need to have links to your web address on them. The more of these links that point to your website, the higher the ranking goes, basically. And also, your website should point out to other sources of information as well. That can also help to show Google that you're contributing to the internet. And that's in the old days, if you weren't in Yellow Pages, you weren't in business. But what Google like to see nowadays is the new Yellow Pages are all these different high quality directories. We use about 40 of them, and we put your name, address, and phone number on every single one of them with your logo, your keywords. And that says to Google what you're looking for, and it gives them confidence you're in business. Now, also, we sometimes find when we do an audit of those that you've had numerous addresses and you've been picked up by these directories with your old address on or your old telephone number. And these need to be cleared out to tell Google, no, this is where we are, this is our telephone number, this is our new web address, etc., etc. And these are the keywords that we're looking to get ranking for. So that's another difference between I've talked about the turning away of 70% of customers. One of the best things to do is to set up a mini version of your website that hasn't got everything on your normal website's got on, but it's got a sort of an overview, like a movie trailer of what's on your main website, so that you can engage quickly with somebody on a mobile device, make it a quick and easy process. And if they want to phone you, they can phone you quickly. If they want to get directions, they can get those quickly. If they want to see your reviews, they can do that. If they want to find product A, B, or C, they can get to it quickly. And there's an overview and there's a link to further information on your bigger. But that loads quick and gives them a good experience will get you ranking higher. Really, your website needs to go on a diet, because 93% of current websites do need to go on a diet. They're too clunky, they're too heavy, pictures are taking too long to load. If it takes more than 4 seconds to load, you lose 50% of your visitors straight away. Then it's kind of like going down steep street in Dunedin on a go-kart with no brakes. You're on a downward spiral. The 7-second rule kicks in of the attention span of a human being. That's all that the human being has now. 7 seconds. If you haven't found the information to their questions within 7 seconds, or your website hasn't loaded on a mobile device in 7 seconds, they're gone. They're onto your competitor. If you're dealing with goldfish, they allow you 9 seconds. So we build lead catching websites. We learn about your business. We learn what your customers want. So we learn about what type of customers you're looking for, and we learn about how those customers search. We research the prospect's searches and questions, so the keywords they use. We look at the volumes of those searches, and we look at the frequently asked question, and we look at the pains that they have in dealing with your type of industry and what they can get out. Pleasure, they call pain and pleasure. What the pains are, what they're trying to solve, and what they're trying to get by going with your services. We study your 5 to 10 of your competitors. We find out their Google rankings. We look for opportunities. We look for weak spots in their game plan. Their best links that link to their website, that produce traffic to their website, their keywords that they're targeting, and we can normally find out what their visitor traffic is. It's called like ethically spying, and it's quite easy to do, and it gives us a good idea of where the low-hanging fruit is. We build a blueprint and strategy for you. We put together a comprehensive blueprint to build your website. We help your website to engage the 37% of in-store shoppers. This builds your own pipeline of 3%ers. We use keyworded photos, and we use video shoots. And we use photos of your actual premises, your actual jobs, because Google knows the difference between them and standard stock. A website with good quality pictures that have been taken on job sites, people can tell the difference. We're building your lead catching website, building the foundations and the framework from the blueprint, using keywords and competitor research to create the content, build a first draft and add content and pictures and infographics. We use graphic designers to make the website look good. And we make it Google friendly by indexing the pages, the meta descriptions, checking that the pictures are keyworded and the headings and the content are keyworded properly. We put interlinks between the pages to give more information and to keep people on the website. We're doing the same on a mobile tablet website, and we use Google speed tests to make sure that it's going to pass the speed test for Google. We guarantee first page of Google in the first 3 months for at least 5 keywords out of 15 with the locations. So there'll be 15 keyworded location-based keywords. They will be on page 1 within 3 months. Because we can do this because we do the full discovery research, because we know how to do the keywording and the linking to guarantee the results. I'm Google AdWords certified. Probably less than 100 people in New Zealand have this qualification. There's no other website company that does keywording and contenting and linking like us. No other company that works with you month by month. Nearly every web designer or agency out there, they're just a factory producing websites. They don't work with you. We like to be like a family with our company owners. So we're like their marketing division, and we understand their business, and we look after the whole journey, not just building a website and leaving it to have cobwebs grow on it. It is an ever evolving thing that needs consistent work on it to keep it up there and optimized. And it can produce very good results, and it pays for itself over and over again. So we talk about getting good votes, more leads. This is just a diagram of one with 101 backlinks, one with 100 backlinks. So one is position 2 and one is position 1, just by one extra link. This is probably oversimplifying it, but hopefully these are directory listings, social listings or social mentions, high value websites and directories pointing to you, blogs and forums and videos pointing to your website. The more links you have from good sources, the higher up you go in the rankings. And the other thing, the difference between position 1 and position 2 is position 1 gets 33% of the traffic and position 2 gets 16% of the traffic. So the idea is to get you up there on page 1, position 1. And remember, every keyword that you type into Google has a different page come up. So plumbers, emergency plumbers Christchurch has one page come up. Plumbers near me has another page. Christchurch plumbers has another page, and so on and so forth. But if we choose the right keywords and we do the right things, you can be on page 1 for those phrases, and we can work up to position 1 for the important phrases for your business. We also look at your spam score. We see a lot of websites where they've just been left, and you can see here 30% spam score, 16% spam score. What does that mean, spam score? Well, there's lots of links and things pointing to that website that have nothing to do with that website. They're from casinos and online gambling sites, and they're just all sorts of stuff. The easiest way it's kind of like having a garden, and you design a beautiful garden, and then you don't look after it properly, and you don't weed it, you don't feed it, and the ivy grows everywhere, and there's weeds in between the cracks in the pavement, and the fence starts to fall down, and it all looks a shambles. Most people's websites, that's what that looks like. If it's got a high spam score, that's what it would visually look like if it was a garden. That's why you need to weed and feed your garden regularly, and that keeps it growing. So you need to kill the weeds, the wrong links, the spammy links, and you need to feed the lawn with good fertilizer to keep it growing. Obviously, the other thing is to have enough blogs and topics to cover So you're covering all the main topics in your industry, and Google will your topic, I call it topical authority, is high, so you move up the rankings. The type of website prices range between, well, websites really start at sort of $3,000 right up to $70,000. And some people think, oh, why would somebody pay $70,000 for a website? That's a lot of money. Well, if your return on investment for one customer is $50,000 to $70,000, yeah, and I had some dealings with an accountant the other day, and we worked out each customer is worth, lifetime value is worth $25,000 to him in his business. And then we also worked out that they refer people, and we just worked on one person being referred. That's $50,000 one customer is worth to them. So when you work on a site like that, if you make it a really comprehensive site and really sort of get it to sing to Google that this is the place to take that customer, they only need one or two, even if they get just one customer a month from that converts, that's a lot of money in a year for them. I mean, normally it would convert a lot more than that. But just think about that. If each customer's worth 50K to them, the websites cost them 50K, and they get 10 customers join them in their type of accounting, tax accounting, or very high accounting, then that's paid for the investment. One customer has probably paid for their investment, and everything after that is profit, but it needs to be kept up. But I'm not saying that every company and business is going to be spending that much, but that's why some websites do cost a lot more. But the idea is to get to harvest customers for you and to get your lifetime value from your customers. And once you understand that, you realize that investing in digital is the way to go, and not just building a site and leaving it and hoping, which is what the most sites are. Okay, so we don't just abandon you after we've built your website. To keep your website climbing up Google, we need to keep adding content, keywords, blogs, adding high quality directories, listings, building extra pages, adding videos, ebooks, infographics, calculators, building social signals to show that you were talking about the customer. On the social, we tend to put myths and questions and things that will catch the attention of somebody that's looking for that type of business. And if you put questions and myths in the social media, you can bring people through to your site. We help put a system together to harvest reviews. Word of mouth nowadays is Google reviews. People believe 80%, 88% of the reviews that they read, and they will check a company out on their reviews. And if you've not got consistent reviews on your website, or you've got very low reviews, you've been in business 10 years and you've got 10 reviews, that isn't cutting it nowadays. You've got to have 60, 100, 300 reviews on that. We have a system for harvesting. So we don't abandon you, we help you through the journey. So you consistently harvest customers. We guarantee first page from Google for your rankings with it. And so once we've got your 5 up out of the 15, we then work on the next keywords. So in the first month, we've got first 3 months, 5 keywords with locations. And then the more competitive keywords take a bit more time to get to page 1. So we don't just abandon you, as I said before. We work with you, we work with your content, we're consistently ticking the boxes from Google, getting you reviews and helping you move on, but also helping you move up the rankings. And we're going to get you so that you get 10 geo keywords on page 1 in an 8-month period. If we don't do that, you don't pay our monthly fee. And a few of these should be the top position page on page 1 for the phrase, which means you're catching 40% of the leads on page 1 when you're the top one. On average, you'll harvest 40% of anybody that visits that page. So that's our commitment to you. We do a paid discovery system. We learn about your business. We spend 3 to 5 hours in a discovery meeting with you. We guide. We basically help guide prospects to your website. Every hour meeting, I will spend another hour researching your business. We build a blueprint plan and a full quotation, which comes off the discovery fee that you pay us. The research fee comes off any work that we do for you, but we also supply you with everything you would need to go out and you could get contractors to build that for you. In fact, I've just realised you can probably see there's a blueprint behind me here. We do that manually and we do it on the internet. And that shows like a plan, a blueprint of where to go. And we sometimes section that up into 4 stages so that it gets you to where you need to be. So hopefully that's been helpful. If there's anything we've not covered in here or you've got questions about it, I'm James Roberts. I also own Kingfisher Digital. We help local businesses throughout New Zealand and in the UK to get more leads. We help them get instant leads. We help them get good reviews and word of mouth on the internet. We also help them get long-term, the 3, 6, 8, 12-month build of SEO on their website so that they get the rankings to harvest more leads. So hopefully that's helped. Hopefully you've understood a bit more about how Google works. I would highly recommend for you to check out that Matt Cutts video, Matt Cutts, How Search Works, or just How Search Works Google. And Google's version of that, the new version, is pretty good as well. It talks about the different meanings of wording, and as an example of lasagna. It's a cracking video as well. It's a bit longer than Matt Cutts' one, and Matt Cutts' one is, I think, a better one. So great to speak to you. Love to help you. We can only work with 5 businesses a month. So if you'd love us to work with you and love to have a team that can take that hassle off you, or you're fed up of dealing with companies that do something and leave you, or do something that you find out isn't the right thing, we're not about there. We're in for the long term. We're in to help you. We know, and we have regular meetings with our customers to help them get the best out of the internet. So if you'd like to know more about some of our services, you'll find it on this YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you go over to our website, there should be a link on the channel somewhere, or under this website, or under this YouTube video. That will take you to a booking form, and you'll be able to book in a consultation with me or with one of the 4 other people that do our consultations. Cheers. Hopefully that's helped. Thank you. Bye.